Hey Sixers, and welcome back to English this week. A fantastic lesson yesterday, and I've heard so many. I'm so pleased to hear back from so many of you about how you plan on changing the way, the life choices you're making to try and reduce plastic waste. My favourite, I'm not going to mention names, but my favourite by far was I'm no longer going to eat sweets because they come in plastic wrappers. I mean, amazing if you manage to do that. I'm so pleased if you manage to do that. Another one was not going to buy anything in plastic bottles anymore. I'm only going to buy things in cans, which was great because cans metal can always be recycled 100% of the time, all the time, forever and ever and ever and ever. Oh man! Plus, the metal came from the ground in the first place because you get metal ore. That's what you sort of mine for. So happy days. I mean, that's so much better than plastic bottles. One thing we did at home. One thing Sarah sort of researched and did to change the way we're living at home was to only buy tea bags that are plastic free. Because believe it or not, tea bags have got plastic in them. They use the plastic to glue the tea bags together. So you can get plastic-free tea bags now as well, which is obviously better for the environment. And that's one thing that we've done as well. So happy days with that. So very, 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 very pleased with the people who got in touch with us and told us how they're going to change the environment. So today then, we're looking at retrieving information from different sources. I don't mean red source and brown source. What I mean there is different things on the internet. That's a good place to look for information by reading and research so we have the correct information to put in our letters. What letters do you mean, Mr. Barker? Well, your challenge this week. Mr. Barker has noticed the amount of waste we produce as a school and needs your help. So it says we need you, as in year 6, we need you. As in Miss O'Riordan and Mr. Barker, we need you. We are going to write a letter to Miss Ryan to persuade her to join a recycling scheme. Now, obviously, as you probably tell, this is one thing that I'm really, really passionate about personally anyway, and waste in school, I think we could do a better job at trying to bring the percentage of waste down, okay, and hopefully recycle a lot more as well. So that's one thing that we're going to try and do and almost persuade Miss Ryan, and hopefully you can change the way that we behave as a school because of this. This is one thing I personally want to change, and these letters are going to help do this. So this is something, now this bit here, I've attached this to the PDF for today. So you can either print it off and write inside the boxes. You don't have to. You just literally put the subheadings down. This is what we're going to be working on today. We're going to be looking at introduction and argument number 1. Okay, and tomorrow we're going to be looking at different pens and the cost versus the impact. So argument 2 and 3, and then on Friday we're going to write it all up, including our conclusion as well. Now, what's quite nice here as well, we've got useful words here. Firstly, secondly, in my opinion, some believe that, I feel that, and such and such. We've also then got reasons for, reasons against, and then something here to ask questions to get the reader thinking. So rhetorical questions there to get the reader thinking, and then also evidence as well. And this is another way that you can set it out. If you really, if you don't like the boxes or something, you want to be a bit more free with the way that you're setting out on your paper, you can also do it this way as well. So the introduction could go in here. Why are we writing? It's exactly the same thing here, just in a different place. This is the main idea. Sorry, this is the title here, Action on Plastic Pens, main idea. Paragraph 1 is the argument 1, signing up to a scheme and some ideas that might crop off that. Different pens, that's paragraph 2, same as over here, and ideas coming off that. Paragraph 3, cost versus impact and the ideas, and then finally the conclusion of the final thoughts there. So however you want to set out your ideas and your evidence, you can do it either this way using this or this way using this as well. Either way, good graphic organisers for you to use. So we're going to start looking at why are we writing, and the one thing that sort of rang true with me is to remember evidence. We need to get some evidence together first about plastic and about some things that happen in school. So this is something here. If you literally go into Google and type these words in, recyclingbins.co.uk facts, it will then bring you to a website that looks similar to this here. Now, I've done it. I just need to share the screen in a second. But these are the things I want you to think about. Which 2 facts about waste are you going to use to shock someone? Which 2 facts really shocked you when you're reading them, and you think actually they'll be the best to put inside our letter? Now, sorry, I did say that the letter here is we're trying to bring down the amount of waste on plastic pens. So what can we do with the plastic pens in school? Because we'll use so many of them, and so many of them just go into the bin. So that's one thing that I'm thinking we could try and change as year 6. Okay, so which two sort of facts do you think are going to be good for our letter and shock you quite a lot? And then there's something under here then that I wanted to think about as well. But then also the sentence starters. I was looking at this bit. What sentence starters do you think we could use for our introduction? Which ones do you think are the best ones to go in there? Okay, so if we go onto this website, I'm just going to share the screen with you. Just need to click that. So it should look something like this. Hopefully, let's make sure that I've got the right screen up there. So I've literally just typed it in there, and it'll bring you to this. So you might get, if you're using Google, you might get this sort of advert at the top here, or if not, it'll be, if you see this here, recyclingbins.co.uk and then recycling facts, it'll be the same website that's there. So I'm just going to click this one, and it brings me to this website here. Now, for some reason, it always seems to scan down to this section here, or a section. If I scan all the way up to the top of the page for you, you can see what it actually looks like. Oh, there we go. Oh, is it not loading up? Oh, there we go. So this is all to do with waste and resourcing, the resources that we waste as well. And it's quite nicely split up into bullet points here, all these sort of different facts that we've got. Cars can be recycled, up to 80% of the vehicle being reused, you know, stuff like this. I want us to think about the two facts that are going to ring true with our pens, trying to recycle these pens. So are we going to look at tin cans and aluminium recycling facts? Probably not. I mean, it's good to read, good, you know, good things on there to read. I'm just thinking here, Brazil recycles more than 98% of its aluminium. That's amazing. I wonder what percentage UK recycle. Probably nowhere near as big as 98%. And then we've got paper recycling facts here as well. Not really something we want to read about, paper recycling facts. Then we've got, plastic recycling facts. Well, we're looking at plastic pens, aren't we? So there might be some facts on here, nothing to do with glass, and then nothing to do with food, really. I mean, they're interesting to read, like I said, but we don't really want them for our letter. It's plastic recycling facts. So which two on here do you think are the most sort of shocking facts that we could use in our letter? So pause the video and then write down in your English book today just the two sort of facts that you want to use inside your letter. Off you go. So hopefully then, if we go on to go back to here, the two facts that I found the most shocking then that we've got here were these two. The 8 million tons of the world's plastics end up in our oceans each year. 8 million tons, that's 8 million cars almost, end up, you know, the size of a car end up in our oceans each year, creating a garbage patch 3 times the size of France. What? So 3 times the size of France, there's a huge sort of garbage patch created by our plastic. I mean, I'm stunned by that. That's incredible. And then plastics from items such as carrier bags and bottles that end up in our ocean kill around 1 million sea creatures every year. 1 million sea creatures every year die because of our plastic that ends up in the ocean. So those two facts there, I think, are really going to shock Miss Ryan. And I'm going to include them in my introduction, okay? Plus, everybody is going to include this fact as well. We throw away 1.6 billion pens a year into landfill, which adds towards this plastic waste, okay? So in our introduction, we're going to have those 3 points there. So inside your book now, sorry, not these 3 points, your 2 points that you want to include, plus definitely this one as well. So inside your book now, I want you to have written both the facts that you want to include and then this one here about the 1.6 billion pens into landfill as well. Then have a little subheading as well, because remember, this is going to be our introduction. So I want you to then think, what are going to be the best words that we could use in our introduction? I don't really think, believe it or not, firstly, is going to be good for our introduction. Remember, we're trying to explain to Miss Ryan why we're writing. We're writing because plastic waste is incredibly high at the moment, and we want to try and do something to bring that plastic waste down. That, firstly, is probably going to be my first argument, okay? So it might be something like, in my opinion, it might be something that I feel that, I am sure that, it is certain, it might be something like that that you want to include inside your introduction, okay? So in your book then today, to start off with, you should have your 3 facts and then a few sentence starters that you want to include in your introduction. Next, we're now going to move on to the second paragraph, or the first argument, okay? So this one here, signing up to a scheme here. Now, what do I mean by a scheme? what I mean by scheme is signing up to something then that we can sort of become involved in along with other people to try our best to bring down our plastic waste to a minimum, okay? So just like we've just done here, I want you then to Google these words here: reduce, reuse, recycle. We've looked at those 3 words already, and hopefully they're on that song that you watched yesterday, .co.uk, and then pens, and it should bring you to a website that looks something like this. So I'm literally going to do it now with you. So if I share my Google screen, there we go. I've typed it in here: reduce, reuse, recycle.co.uk pens, and it's this one here, this reduce, reuse, recycle.co.uk, and then where can I recycle? That's the page that I want to go on. Before you click that though, look at these pens that we've got here. So we've got here eco-friendly wheat straw pens. So these are made from wheat, believe it or not, these pens are. We've got cardboard or bamboo pens here. I mean, these are way better for the environment, aren't they? Surely this is something that we could. Cork, is that cork pens? This is something we should get, isn't it? Instead of plastic pens, got beautiful pens here that are much better for the environment. So hopefully we can try and persuade Miss Ryan to buy these sorts of pens instead of the plastic pens. So if we go onto this website here, just click that one. Hopefully it should load up in a minute. So you've got this here, and it's taking you straight to a page on their website. I mean, by all means, go through their website because there's lots and lots of cool things on this website to go on as well. But then it says how to recycle pens in particular. And there's a video here that I want you to watch. You press play, it takes you straight to a YouTube video. I'm not going to play it in the video now. I want you to play it for me. And it tells you now how we can sign up to this scheme, and then hopefully how easy it is as well, and hopefully recycle lots and lots of different sorts of pens. So if you watch that, I want you then to think of, while you're watching it, how could this scheme help us as a school? How could signing up to that scheme help us as a school? Watch the video for me and try and answer that question. Have a little chat with somebody in your house, your cat or your dog, a plant, a bowl of cereal, anybody that you want to chat to, and then come back and press play on the video. Off you go. Okay, I could hear the conversation. I could hear your brains ticking and whirring through that conversation there. So these are the thoughts I had. You might have had similar thoughts. You might have had completely different thoughts that you want to add to it as well. So the thoughts I had was to reduce waste going into landfill sites. So there's 1.6 billion pens to try and reduce that sort of waste. More products could be made from the recycled plastic, like the tables and the chairs that showed us, but there are thousands of more things we could make from recycled plastic. It's easy for us to use, if you think about it. Fill a box and send it over to them, yes please, and then dispose of our waste more responsibly. We are taking action, we're being more accountable and more responsible for our waste, and trying to do the best thing for the environment as well. So those are the ideas that I've come up with. So inside my book now, I'm going to then sort of put a subheading, paragraph 2 or argument 1, and I might put signing up to a scheme as my subheading, and then I'm going to just jot down 4 or 5 ideas as to what I'm going to include in this paragraph come Friday as to why we think signing up to a scheme is going to be fantastic. Also though, what sentence starters are you going to use for this paragraph? So going back to this page here, which ones are probably going to be best to use for this? Firstly, will probably be a good one to use, isn't it? Signing up to a scheme. We might say some believe that, you know, some might believe signing up to a scheme is the answer, something like that. It's for this reason that I feel passionate about signing up to this scheme, or something like that as well. Okay, so which sentence starters are you going to have for this here? So by the end of this lesson then, you should have, if I go back, you should have a subheading, why are we recycling, or introduction or something like that, with your 3 facts, your 2 facts and my fact here, and then some sentence starters. You then should have another subheading, signing up to a scheme, and then you should have your ideas as to why or how this scheme could help, 4 or 5 ideas about how this particular scheme could help, and then some sentence starters as well. Take pictures of your hard work, send them in to us for me, and then you have got now the bare bones to take those 2 paragraphs and start writing your draft on Friday. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at these particular paragraphs, these different pens. Well, we've already looked at some different pens, haven't we, as well? Maybe you want to do your homework and have a look at what different pens we could buy. And also this thing here, the cost, because unfortunately, it's more costly, it costs more for us to get eco-friendly things, because there's a lot more sort of work to make these sorts of things, but you know, it does cost more. But what's the impact of us doing it? Have we got a better impact on spending this money? Yes, I think we have. So that's going to be our what we look at as well tomorrow. Then Friday, we're going to write up the whole letter. And then I will show them Miss Ryan, and hopefully we can then change her mind and change the way she thinks so that we are doing better, the school is doing better for the environment. Can't wait to see your hard work, Year 6, and I shall see you tomorrow. Bye.